How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Manatee Gaming. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys a very fast way of getting some divination experience. This is going to require a bit higher level of divination to do, and I'm going to try not to make this super long. So let's go ahead and jump right on into it. That way we can keep the time down. So to do this method, you're going to have level 95 and divination. I almost said level 95 ancestral. You're going to have level 95 divination, and you're also going to have some other items and some other things unlocked. So if you don't have 95, then you can just plan on doing this once you get 95. And also, if you're below 95 and you would like to know the fastest way to be able to unlock this method, would just be by doing caches and also just grinding the wisps themselves. Getting from level 1 to about 90 is actually pretty quick still by just grinding the wisps, and doing your caches is an obvious thing to boost yourself up. Also, doing some quests and getting stars and lamps and everything will help you speed your way to being able to unlock this. So this is actually my favorite way of training divination of all, and the reason why I like this method so much is because this method is a little over 600,000 EXP per hour if you are doing it in the fastest way possible, and you've also gotten a little bit of luck involved with it too, because this does involve a little bit of luck. No matter what, it's going to be good experience, but if you want to try to get like the rate I just said, that is a little bit luck based, and you'll see what I mean here pretty soon. So the first thing you're going to want to bring with you is going to be your Elder Divination suit. Keep in mind, all the stuff that I mentioned here is going to be close to optimal things. You don't have to have the stuff I have. If you have the little bit lower versions of them, that's totally fine. But I'm just going to go ahead and mention the things in this video that are kind of like the best things to use. So the best things to use is going to be the Elder Divination set, because it has all the boosts to it. I'm not going to go into it, but you can look it up if you want to. Also, you want to have a Wise 2 or Wise 3 perk on something. It doesn't really matter what you have. If you have the Sliske's endgame stuff to be able to boost your EXP, that's also going to be very useful. And then as far as your aura slot, you can use just an EXP boosting thing. I'm not actually entirely sure, and I don't believe it helps for the greater enrichment if you're doing ancestral energies. I could be wrong, but I don't think it actually works. If anyone does, if anyone knows that it does work, then please let us know in the comments below. I've tried using it quite a few times. I don't really actually see a difference when using it. Another thing you can do if you really want to try to boost the EXP per hour, but it's not really necessary and it's also extremely expensive, is going to be to use crystal skill Chompers, but once again, that's very, very expensive. Another thing you're going to want to bring with you guys is going to be the avatar. So a clan avatar is going to probably be your best bet. If you don't have a clan avatar, then using one of the Menaphos rugs is also a really good option, because it's just going to be able to boost your experience rates, which is going to be very helpful. Videos. I don't want that person to think that I am ignoring them. Anyway, guys, so next thing you're going to be needing to use is going to be the Arc Journal. So go ahead and right click your Arc Journal, hit teleport, and go to Waco. So obviously, as you can already tell, you're going to have to unlock the Arc stuff for this. Unlocking a lot of the Arc things is going to help out dramatically. And I'll walk right over here and show you which ones are going to be good to unlock. The number one thing you'll want to unlock, which I actually don't have unlocked because I don't have it done, it's actually one of the only things I don't have unlocked in the Arc, is going to be the Sojobo Contract Guru. This will allow you to reroll your contracts at a half the cost. So that is going to make this way cheaper to do, and be able to get you further with the amount of chimes that you have. I don't really think you really need much else in here, but you are going to want to make sure you've got your consumables. You need to buy some contract contacts, and then also if you have a flag to set up your own Uncharted Island, those are also going to be very useful. Make sure that you have the contracts or the contract contact, whatever. Make sure you have those, because if you don't have those, this method is not going to work. The next thing you want to do, guys, is go over here to this contract board, and you want to make sure that you have checked it so that you are receiving stuff that will send you to Uncharted Islands only. If you don't check this box, it's going to be very, very expensive for you to be doing this method, especially if you don't have the half price thing. So make sure that you have this set up so it only goes to Uncharted Islands. Next thing, the guy you're going to be wanting to talk to is going to be Sojobo. He's sitting right here on Waco. All you got to do is right click him, go to contract. When you go to contract, if you do not currently have a contract, it'll just say confirm and you'll get a new contract. And then what you want to do actually is you want to click the re-roll button. And I'm not going to do it right here because I'm actually going to show you guys the next step here in a second. But what you can do for your first contract is just re-roll with him until you get a Divination contract. And you want the Divination contract to be Ancestral Divination, which is actually the only option as long as you're a high enough level and you have Uncharted's marked. And the experience rates that you're going to be able to get, like the experience reward you're going to be able to get, is going to vary. I'm actually going to walk to my Uncharted Island as I say this. So it's going to vary anywhere from right around 15,000, 16,000 XP all the way up to in the upper 30,000s of XP per contract. And that's kind of what I was talking about when I said there's a little bit of luck involved. So as you can see right here, I've got my claimed island. I'm going to go ahead and click claimed island. On my claimed island, I've got some salt crabs. I also have my divination spot all the way back here. So what I've got on my island, just for a quick example, is going to be these three crabs, and then I've also got two divination spots. I find that 2 divination spots is pretty much perfect for doing your contracts each day, and if you want to train your mining, then that's why I've got these other 3 salt crabs. So that's kind of the way to go. The other option for what I would call a perfect Uncharted island, not counting these 6 rare islands, which are actually kind of expensive to do because you can only get those by doing the deep sea fishing maps. That would be to do 3 wobbegongs plus the 2 ancestral energies again. So if you want to do fishing, do 3 wobbegongs. If you want to do mining, do 3 of the crabs, and then just make sure you have 2 divination spots because, as I'm about to show you, is very worthwhile. So as I was saying, I was going to wait till I got to my island to show you guys this. If you go to your ARC journal and then you go to check your ARC journal, make sure that you have put your contract contacts into your ARC journal. And then if you do, then you can go right here and then you can click on them and then be able to summon Sajobo. So remember, you don't actually need to summon Sajobo unless your contract is currently finished. But as you can see right here, my contract, it says, is for rune crafting. Also, something I forgot to mention as far as unlocks is you want to unlock the total number of contracts you can do per day. You want to be able to max that out at 7 because that's going to be able to give you the highest XP rate and is also going to be well worthwhile. So now that I have rune crafting here, that's not what I want, so I'm going to go ahead and click on this contract thing to summon Sajobo, and then he pops up right next to you. Keep in mind, guys, a real quick note here because I've accidentally done this. Don't forget your contract contacts. If you do, you can just go back to the little boat thing and grab them out of the bank. But if you log out while you are doing this, which can easily happen if you are AFKing, then Sajobo will disappear, which means you will actually have to use another contract contact in order to bring him back. So I just recommend stocking up a whole bunch of those. That way you don't have to worry about ever running out. And then once Sajobo is popped up in front of you, he will actually stay there until you leave the island or until you log out. So don't worry about having to, there's no timer for him or anything. When you click on contract by the right click option, is the exact same thing that pops up as when you were at Waco. If you are on your current contract as number 1, then it's going to cost 1 chime to reroll. So as far as actually, let's see, the easiest way to explain this. If you're on 1, then it's going to be, if contract 1 is going to cost 1 to reroll, contract 2 is going to cost 10 to reroll, and then it's going to increase by 10 for each one all the way up to 60 chimes to reroll at contract number 7. So what I highly recommend doing is for contracts 1, 2, and 3, maybe 4 if you don't mind blowing some extra chimes, is I would actually re-roll until you get a good ancestral one. So what I consider a good ancestral one is going to give you at least 28,000 experience for divination. If it does not give you at least 28,000 experience for divination, then I just continue re-rolling it because at the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd contracts, it is actually very cheap to re-roll. So as you can see right there, we just hit one that is gathering 66 energies, which gives you 150 chimes, and then 23,760 divination experience. What I would do actually is I would continue re-rolling until I got something better, because 23,000 is not really, it's not really that great. And as you can see, it only costs 10 chimes. Now, if you're sitting there and you're wondering, well, that seems like that would actually get pretty expensive after a while. It's not really actually that bad. So one of the alternatives to doing this method, oh, there we go right there. So as you can see right there, I just got a 33,840 divination experience one, which actually, come to think of it, I think that's pretty much the max you can get. You might be able to get slightly more than that, but that's pretty much the max. So I would hit confirm, and then I would just go ahead and start gathering the energies. And as I'm gathering the energies, it's going to go ahead and tick off that that contract. Once the contract is complete, then you can just right-click Sajobo and hit contract again, and then you will cash it in and get a huge amount of XP. You will get the 33,840 or whatever it was in divination XP. So The alternative to spending your chimes on this, as far as cashing them in for experience, because there's not really much else to do with chimes after you've unlocked everything in the shop, is to buy the huge lamps. So the huge lamps are a great thing to do, but when you actually add up how much they cost, it's about 6,400 chimes, I believe, to buy one of the lamps if you want the chosen skill, and that's going to give you a huge XP lamp, which is about 68,000 experience, I believe. I'm just balling these numbers here. I could be a little bit off, but right around 68,000 experience. So if you think about it that way, you're spending 6,400 chimes in order to get 68,000 experience. Even if you sit here and re-roll with Sojobo for quite a while, you're going to end up getting more divination experience if you're going for divination by doing these chimes than you would by doing the lamps. And that actually is considering even if you were at the higher end ones like the 40, 50, and 60 re-rolls. I will just go ahead and happily sit there and re-roll, because if you really think about it, re-rolling the most expensive one, the 60, if you re-roll that even 30 times, which is quite a bit, it's only 1,800 chimes, and that's actually still less than 1/3 of the cost of one of the lamps. And if you're going to get yourself like 30,000 divination from doing that, it's obviously very good to sit here and do this. Another thing too, in order to get some extra divination experience as well, I'm just going to go add this in, is you can actually catch chronicles. They do pop out of the wisps here, and then you can also click on the receive item on your elder divination head or your other divination thing, so don't forget to do that. And then lastly, you are able to oh shoot, what was I going to say? You're also able to, oh that's right, you're also able to get the memory strands. So these do give you memory strands for the Guthix Memorial, which you can cash in for also a pretty high amount of divination XP as well. So altogether it ends up being a little over 600,000 experience in an hour. Keep in mind though, it does not actually take you a full hour to get all these contracts done, so this is kind of like a short daily thing to do. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So anyway guys, I hope this helps you out. I've had a lot of people ask me what's the best ways to train divination, and in my opinion this is the most relaxed way of getting a high amount of experience, especially if you don't like doing caches, because there's a lot of players that don't like doing caches and they're probably sick of people suggesting them to go do caches. So if you don't want to do caches and you're still looking to get 120 or 200 million divination, this is a really great option. And if you combine this with caches and some other stuff, then it's actually a pretty insane amount of EXP in one day. Alright guys, thank you so much. If this video helps you out, then be sure to hit the subscribe button, leave comments down below if you guys like doing this method, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.